Namaskar. Remember a couple of years ago, the Biden administration ordered that everyone working on semiconductors or semiconductor fabs located in China should come back to the United States, and that the Biden administration is going to be enacting a law called the CHIPS Act. I think it was $60 billion or something to that effect, that would ensure that the latest technology of chips will not be available to China. And then the DeepSeek happened after that. But basically, the die was cast. America was going to regain control back of the semiconductor program, and it was also going to make sure that China would not have access to the latest technology as far as chip making is concerned. Well, I have had people talk to me about it from some of the big semiconductor fab equipment companies, like, for example, Applied and so on and so forth, Applied Materials and so on and so forth, and they were saying that this basic ban by Biden administration was going to cost them 20% of their revenues. I mean, then what happened? Everybody closed shop and came back, and then there were allegations that some Taiwan-born semiconductor engineers were still being kept in China, and then China said, okay, we don't need you, we can do it on our own, and a lot of war of words. This was like two and a half years ago or something to that effect. Then what happened was that then you started hearing that TSMC was going to build fabs not in Taiwan alone, but also in other countries, so that they can distribute the risk. One was going to be in Japan, one was in India, and the other one was in Texas. The Texas one has been sort of under construction, and I don't know what happened to the Japan plant, and I have no clue what is happening to the Indian plant that TSMC was going to bring in. See, with so many things up in the air, now comes news that one body that was supposed to take this CHIPS Act and then coordinate services between various semiconductor manufacturers, make sure that everybody got their funding, make sure that the AI technology based on the latest and greatest will continue to leapfrog the technology of China, all that stuff. The name of the company is called Natcast, and I'm going to tell you about what happened, because I just need to address. Latnik has just shut down this company, and he has alleged that it has a slush fund of $7.4 billion earmarked for Democrats. This is the allegation. This is the allegation made by the Commerce Secretary, and we have to wait and see how this plays out. I'm going to tell you what it was doing, what was the money being spent, and what is happening on a step-by-step basis. I hope that all of you that are watching will like this video. Very important, because this again strikes at the root of some of the things where the United States was thinking it was a little bit ahead. But if things like this, these initiatives get stopped, it's like a start and stop. 2 years of effort, all of it gone down the drain. We'll see. So Natcast is a Silicon Valley-based non-profit established under the Biden administration to lead the National Semiconductor Technology Center, NSTC. It was awarded $7.4 billion to establish a hub for semiconductor R&D, workforce development, and industry collaboration. Like I said, right, there are only few players left. If you think about semiconductor equipment, there's a consortium called SEMI. I mean, the players are Applied Materials, Lam Research. I'm maybe missing one or two other companies. These are the big ones. And there used to be a company called 𝗥𝗘𝗙𝗪. I'm not sure if they're still around or if they've also been subsumed by one of these other two companies. The big ones are the Applied Material and Lam Research. It's okay. So 3 or 4 companies. And then who are the people who are having fab technology? Like, for example, ASML. ASML is a lone player providing the scanner as well as the extreme ultraviolet sources, so that one can make sub 10 nanometer chips. And I don't remember exactly what the latest one is, and there have been some sleight of hand also. I know that at 10 nanometer itself, we are already crossing the boundary of physics, and that you can't really predict how things work. That's when I used to work in a semiconductor company. Be that as it may, let's take a look at who are the people who were part of Natcast. Its membership included over 200 major players, including NVIDIA, Intel, Apple, Samsung, Google, and AMD. Some of them have fabs. For example, I know Intel has a fab, Samsung has a fab, and AMD has a fab. So these are all companies that have their own fabs. So these are directly affected by this. The strategic goal was to reinforce US leadership in semiconductors and AI against China while addressing workforce shortages. Now, what Howard Lutnick has said is that he is canceling Natcast contract, branding it a semiconductor slush fund benefiting Biden allies. He claimed that Natcast formation violated the Government Corporation Control Act, citing DOJ's revised legal opinion. That means the DOJ under the Trump administration has reviewed this contract and has come to the conclusion that it does violate Government Corporation Control Act. He justified the move as part of his mandate to secure better deals and prevent misuse of taxpayer funds. Lutnick reserved the right to pursue legal action against Natcast. So what did Natcast do? Natcast actually shut down without a legal fight, laying off over 90% of the 110 staff members. Viewers, I can tell you, once funding comes from from the government, the numbers just balloon. Everybody, you bring in 2 executives, they'll bring in 5 each, and then suddenly you have 10 people. In this 10 people, you start hiring five people, and suddenly you have 100 people doing what? One wonders. Okay. Next. After this, stop work orders have been issued, freezing dozens of R&D infrastructure and workforce projects across states, including Arizona, where Intel is, New York, California, and Texas. Texas is where Texas Instruments is. Texas is where other companies are there. I mean, TSMC is building a fab there. So all these people are affected there also. Now, September Austin conference that was supposed to have featured NVIDIA and OpenAI leaders has also been cancelled. Industry insiders described the situation as a year's work gone to waste and a misuse of taxpayer money. So this is the big picture. Natcast is completely shut down. Now let's take a look at the impact of this on various states. New York, Albany Nanotech Complex, it was awarded an $825 million federal plus $1 billion state funding plus $9 billion industry investment, was the most advanced project, still expected to move forward, but faces certain uncertainty, because the Commerce Department is not going to stop at one, right? It's going to go and look at the other initiatives also, which are all, they all were taken birth around the same time as Natcast. California, we know that Natcast has shut down, but it had also leased Google's Sunnyvale building for NSTC offices, and the state set aside $25 million for construction, but paused disbursement. So that is up in the air. In Arizona, ASU, Arizona State University, was awarded $1.1 billion for a prototyping facility. Plans are now halted. State Attorney General Chris Mayers is weighing a legal challenge. In Texas, UT Austin, over $9 million, and Texas A&M, about $1.2 million are also affected. Now, what is the Commerce Department going to do? Well, what Lutnick has done is he has transferred the NSTC back under Commerce Department's direct control, scrapping Natcast. But somebody has to run this, and Commerce Department is not equipped to do that. So let's see what they are going to do. They are going to issue new guidelines that applicants may be required to prove equity warrants, excuse me, intellectual property licenses, royalties, or revenue sharing arrangements to ensure a return on investment. By the way, anything to do with semiconductors is a long gestation project. You will not break even for at least 5 years, and then after that, based on the industry shortages and excesses, you could be having ups and downs. So what is going to happen is, it looks like the government is going to insist on taking equity stake in some of these new ventures, so that if that takes off, then government also gets to see some part of that revenue. Now, what is also happening is they are realigning the priorities towards quantum computing, biotechnology, and AI integration, not just chips. Now, What has the industry done about this? Industry has been surprisingly muted because it is believed that many are afraid to open their mouth, as there has been a fierce pushback or backlash from the Trump administration if you cross the line. The support for Natcast has come from leaders of IBM, NVIDIA, Intel, Micron, and AMD, who have endorsed the CEO, 𝗟𝗑𝗏 a respected semiconductor veteran. Bipartisan concern emerged as lawmakers across the parties. See, once state funding gets involved, all the senators, the congressmen, all of them start jumping up and down, saying, "Oh, my money, my money, my money, my funding, jobs in my constituency are going away." Like Chuck Schumer, he's a New York senator. Mark Kelly, I don't know which state he is, but again, he probably is one of those affected states. Some Republican lawmakers expressed skepticism, arguing that red states like Texas were overlooked in Natcast's overall vision. Now, see, what was the intent? The intent was to keep the advantage in semiconductors as well as leapfrog China in those areas where the extra investment could give that extra push for this technology. So what is going to happen now? Because of this, the delay risks wasting 2 years of preparatory work, potentially slowing down the US progress in semiconductor R&D. But viewers, I have worked in semiconductor industry. These things are not easy to solve, especially since we are talking about nanometer and sub-nanometer technology. It is not easy. It's more of a physics thing, and also there is a lot of other factors at play, and you can get it right one day, next day the temperature falls a little bit and everything goes haywire. I've seen some things like this happen, and everybody rushes back to the drawing board to see what went wrong and what needs to be changed, and this iterates many times. Now, what is also going to mean is that many startups and universities are going to lose critical funding, while the workforce training initiatives have stalled, creating an innovation setback. It remains uncertain whether previously awarded projects will be honored or replaced by new awards. The disruption undermines US positioning in the technology race against China at a critical moment. I have no doubt in saying this, but could this have been done better? Well, what is it that the Commerce Department has found that it says that this was all kickbacks and slush funds and so on and so forth? I mean, that detail is still missing. I'm looking for that detail from the Department of Commerce. Whenever that comes out, I will be happy to share it with our viewers, because these are high-paying jobs. And these are all stable jobs, because you don't invest in an engineer unless you know that person knows his or her stuff, and these things go on for 3, 4, 5 years. Fairly stable jobs at very high salaries. Now, what are the different states doing about it? State attorneys general in Arizona and California are exploring legal challenges, while a Department of Justice opinion gave 𝗥𝗡𝗏 cover to legal challenges, while I'm sorry about that. This is when the notification finally came. Now, Rep. 𝗏𝗏 𝗢𝗏𝗏, she actually represents my constituency, condemned the move as political favoritism taking precedence over. This girl, this lady is an octogenarian or close to an nonagenarian, will just occasionally pop up like a jack and then start saying something and then again go quiet. How many times have you seen statements from 𝗏𝗏 𝗢𝗏𝗏? One of the most useless persons, in my opinion, hasn't served the interest of the valley at all. Be that as it may, this is just my rant. The move is seen as part of the Trump administration's broader strategy to rework the Biden's era CHIPS Act rollout. The battle over this fund is less about one organization and more about who gets to shape the future of US technology leadership. So that's all we have. I'm going to see if there's any questions, and if there are, I'll answer them. Otherwise, I'll just wrap it up here. Okay, there's one question. I'm just going to show that. Thought Provocateur wants to know, can the MAGA sur unleashed by Trump ever be tamed? Thought Provocateur, there are lots of layers here. It's easy to say that this guy is on a rampage, but I have a feeling that the Biden administration has stashed away a lot of money like this here, there, everywhere. That is how the deficit ran up to 37 trillion. Trump is trying to trim it back. Even the shutdown that you're seeing now is all because the Democrats are, being petulant, they are sulking because they wanted healthcare benefits for illegals. Can you believe it? I mean, this is just outside the realm of my thought, at least. Next question. 𝗓𝗡𝗏 wants to know how many tech jobs will be impacted in your opinion due to this move. This is going to be a cascading effect. I know many of my friends who are doing contract business. These get affected almost immediately, and the next paycheck itself becomes a bit of a problem. And some of them were affected by the DOGE, which is when I had put out a video saying that, look, if you are canceling something in DOGE, you need to have a redressal mechanism, so that somebody who feels genuinely that something that was intended for a good purpose, if that gets scrapped, they have some way to say that, look, you need to look at this. This has got nothing to do with DOGE. And I think the Elon Musk led DOGE did institute something to listen to people to undo some of these decisions. Also, I don't know where DOGE is right now. Once Elon left that, somehow that has just fallen by the wayside. But there will be impact because of this on tech jobs. Arun wants to know, is US becoming like China in state trying to control everything? Arun, it's a good question. I think the United States in mid 80s to late 80s, there were many fabs running and operating in the United States. They all, one by one, started shutting down and moving things across to Taiwan. That's how TSMC became so powerful. Then there is another company called UMC, and that's a little bit smaller than TSMC. So there are two huge fabs in Taiwan. Then what happened was, I think in the early 2000s, some of these went and started fabrication companies in mainland China, SMIC. There's a couple of other names I'm forgetting, Grace Semiconductor and so on and so forth, because I've used some of these fabs to make some of the chips in the 2000s and so on and so forth. So now what has happened is, first US says fabs are too difficult to manage, so it washes its hands off. Then this goes to Taiwan. From Taiwan it permeates into China, and now China is beginning to eat America's lunch. Why did all this happen? Why did the Americans not see the importance of having semiconductor fabs within their own boundaries? Ask yourself that question. Thoughtless decisions that were taken just to try and see if they can shed some of the more longer investment companies and technologies such as the fabs. If that had not happened, then a lot of things would not have happened. Okay, next question from Thought Provocateur again. The hate against Indians for the woes of MAGA base will continue to grow. Thought Provocateur, I have seen this happen. In every 5-10 years, one community gets targeted. The latest one looks like it is Indian American community. But these two shall pass. Don't worry. You just need to be fair about things. Do your job. Maintain a low profile presence. I'm your voice. That's all I can tell you. Whenever you feel like something wrong has been done, take a look at PGurus, if we have covered it, and just share that thing to people who are outraging. And that's all you need to do. So that's all I can tell you by way of advice. AMD does not have a fab. It uses TSMC. There is another company called Global Foundries. Ravi, I don't know if Global Foundries is having its own fab or not. And Pratyula wants to say that Natcast was supposedly funding EUV development in Albany. Does it mean that too will be scrapped? EUV is the right now much of the technology is in San Diego. It's a group called Cymer, which is now completely owned by ASML. There are very strict guardrails around what that technology can and cannot be transferred. I doubt if something like that would have been started in Albany. I haven't really seen the technology availability in Albany. Maybe it is one of the Ivy League universities. I don't know. I have to do some more research. We'll update you later. Gamers wants to know, will Dr. Shah be returning to his show? His predictions are coming true. Not exactly, gamers. This game is not over yet. In United States will not de-dollarize, at least in my lifetime, perhaps another 50 years. It's not going to be easy, except what is going to happen is the US is going to wash its hands off of many conflict and say, you guys deal with it whichever way you want. And then you will start seeing other players coming in. And that's how this multilateralism is going to take shape. Gamers, again, your thoughts on some tall statues being built in US and Canada, like Hanuman, Ram statues. A lot of controversy about it. I think America is trying to, suddenly waking up to some of these things, because this is an expression of faith. And in Indian faith, we do build murtis, and that's what it is. It's being sourced completely by the community. Nobody should have any objection to it. How many mosques are being built with tall spires? Why is there no problem with that? In fact, they even tried to build a city called 𝗥𝗡𝗙𝗏. Only now the licenses have been cancelled. So there are lots of other people doing lots of other things, and this is completely funded by the community, and they have every right to do that under the US Constitution. I don't see anything wrong. But again, somebody wants to make Indian Americans a target, and this is what you're seeing. Arun wants to know, what is the future of EV with rebates gone? Is Elon cozying up again to get the rebates back? I don't think the rebates are going to come back. In my opinion, it's going to stabilize at EV hybrid. That is something that can run on gas, and while it is running on gas, it will charge the EV. Then once the EV reaches a certain potential, the car starts running on EV, and then once the EV drops below a threshold, again the petrol based thing kicks in. That's what I think is going to happen. I'm seeing this in many Prius models lately. In fact, many cars now, I think almost all cars being sold new, they are hybrid in one form or the other. Pure EV, I think, is not going to really go very far. Thought provocateur, this is the last question. Will the green initiatives take a back seat and re-industrialization happen? Tough to see how that can happen, because price. See, there are states like California, I think, that has instituted a minimum wage of $20 an hour. I mean, $20 an hour is $40,000 a year. And in order for someone to be paid at that rate, they must be bringing in business worth $200 an hour, 10 times. I mean, look at the employee revenue per employee for Google, 1.56 or $2.56 million per employee. Yeah, it's fake, I know, but just giving you some sense of what is the expected output. Supposing somebody is working in like Taco Bell, is getting paid $20 an hour, and he's expected to bring in $200 an hour. $200 an hour is, I think, I would say even generously 10 orders per hour per employee. There'll be like 5 or 6. I mean, it's just not happening, guys. It's just not happening. So these people are incurring losses, but that's where the problem is. You need to let the market dictate how much it can afford to pay, and that's what is going to be. And I don't think manufacturing is coming back to US. Maybe a few things will come, but not all. I think there is this Epstein cover-up. Are you surprised? I am not surprised. I'm never surprised. See, even Trump has done a few things only, has not done everything. But also remember, I told you, if he can get 30% of the things done that he promised, that alone would be a great achievement, because it's not easy. The existing setup knows how to put roadblocks. It's the same thing that you're seeing in India also. Arun, again, this is the last question. Is the Palestine deal fall flat? Bibi seems to take different stance in English versus Hebrew. You know, many of these people depend on this like oxygen, and if that goes away, they are going to be out of a job. So they are going to try and create as much noise as possible. Just give it some more time and see how it goes. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.